Hello, this is John Fonstock, and I'm going to be talking about how to create a contiguous loop in Flash. You'll see that often in old cartoons, the background moves, but the cartoon character doesn't. So it looks like the background is on this kind of treadmill. So let's look at the finished example. Alright, we can see that this background just loops forever. So here we are in Flash. I've got a background, and it's just regular artwork. Want to create a symbol out of this, or put this stuff inside a symbol? Going to press F8. I'm going to name this background. I'm going to duplicate that. Copy and paste, or Option drag, or Alt drag on the PC. Then you want to grab both of them, press F8 again. We're going to put both of those into a graphic. Background, say background dub for duplicate. Now I want this animated. We can contain animations inside symbols, so last one I'm going to put this duplicated version in its own symbol. Going to press F8. So background animated. Alright, so if I double click once, I'm in the animated version. It just has a version of the duplicated graphic. I double click again, then I get the individual ones. I double click again, now I'm inside background. So it's pretty nested and it can be confusing, but if you look at it logically, the reason we have it set up like this is so I can change one, it'll set up the other one. I have them both so I can animate them as a unit in this symbol. So take some time and think about it so that you're clear on exactly why it was built this way. Now I'm going to set up the tween, which is pretty easy. F5 and then right click, create a motion tween. I'm going to go to the end of that, and then let's go ahead and turn that outline mode so I can see the edge of the stage. Now I just want this to move exactly halfway. Let's take a look at this. Let's turn that off again. So it's just moving there. Once it gets to the duplicated version, it just bounces right back to the first one, and it appears seamless. Let's go ahead and test that movie. All right, there's no frames here, so let's go ahead and get some frames in the main timeline. There we go. Alright, so you might have to refine that a little bit. It looks like it pauses a little bit. So to refine this, what you probably would need to do is, it's going exactly at its halfway point, which it's 1600 wide. So I'm moving this over a -800. I'm just going to move this over one keyframe and look at what X it is on. It's on -766.65, something like that. So I'm going to go to the last keyframe and just move that to a -766, something like that. So just before it gets to that loop, and that should look pretty seamless. Now that that's done, let's do one thing. I just want to show you. I'm just going to put a tint on this just so you can see exactly how that's working. So I'm going to tint this slightly, so you can see there's the second one, and it's just kind of serving as the back end of that. And then once it gets to right before that position, it just loops back, so it appears to be seamless. If you take the tint off, can't tell. So just as an explanation to show you how that works. So in your library you should find the symbol of the robot. I want you to duplicate a couple of the things here. I want you to produce this moving of the wheel, this moving of the flag, and the shadowy effect. So not going to go through step-by-step instruction to do that. I want you to do that on your own, set that up, get that working. Next thing we're going to do is use something called VCam, which is a pretty neat little scripted camera for Flash. So you need to go to Google and do a search for VCam Flash, and it's the first one. So we want the AS3 version, so go ahead and download that. So if you open up the VCam, it gives you a little example of it working. And what we want is just this is set up inside a movie clip. So there it is, VCam AS3. To toggle between libraries, we can go to our working version here and open up the library. And if you look, there's this little drop down that allows you to toggle between the two and allow you to copy and paste. So we're going to start a new layer and just drag and drop that VCam. The next thing we'll need to do is open up VCam and change the orientation. Right now the orientation is a 4:3 orientation, and we want ours to be a 16:9 orientation. So we're going to have to change that, the size of this box. Let's go ahead and grab that box. So let's go ahead and change this to 800 by 450. Looks like those were, there we go. Stretch that out, and then we're going to go to the align palette and center that to stage. So we want that 2-stage button on, and then align and align. Now this should make it the right orientation. Let's go ahead and test that and see if that worked. Yeah, so anything that lies within this box will be shown, and you can animate this box here, which is pretty cool. So you can change the scale and the size. And that's outside, so not inside the movie clip, but outside of it. So anything that is, much like a camera. I like to animate the VCam with a classic tween, which is a little bit different than the motion tween. What I'm going to do is, I want this to start out blurry, which you can even tween filters and color effects and things like that. So I'm going to add a filter to this, to the VCam, and set blur, and then just make it 15 or so it's pretty blurry. And then we want to tween that to sharp. So about frame 15 or so, I'm going to press F6. That's going to mark the change. So I'm going to take that blur off, and then I'm going to click in between those two, and it's going to tween from this beginning keyframe to the end keyframe. And instead of creating a motion tween, I'm going to create a classic tween. So as you can see, that's tweening from blurry to sharp. Let's take a look at that. So it's tweening in sharp. Now this effect is pretty memory intensive, so what I want to do is take that off. Even though it's at 0, it's still reading as that filter being applied to that movie clip. So I'm going to press F6 right after that, click the VCam, and then just take that blur off, just to improve our memory, so it'll work a little smoother. So now we can just move this at any pace we want to. We set a beginning point, we set an ending point with our keyframes F6. I'm going to move the VCam about here or so. Alright, create motion tween. I'm sorry, create classic tween. So we're going from that small to that big. And you can even put easing on these, so just like animating anything. So it's blurry to sharp, and then it'll ease out. So try to duplicate some of the features or the effects of the completed version. Good luck. See ya.